I for one, I didn't know anything about meningococcal. I didn't even know how the word was pronounced before I got it.
I've never thought it would happen to me. I've heard about it all the time, and actually me and Mum used to have a bit of a joke about it. She always used to go, before I went out, and say, be careful, don't get a lift home with strangers, don't catch meningococcal. That was one thing she always said.
I didn't really think about it. I didn't really think about anything like this happening. I guess in the back of my mind I thought, oh, you know, it's a possibility, but no, it wasn't a concern to me.
I was fine all day until that night. This just sort of hit me really suddenly, and it's just sort of scary how quickly it happens.
Okay, I can go from being completely normal, and I use the word normal, to just literally a couple of days later having no legs.
On the Tuesday I was feeling a bit off, Wednesday I was feeling tired, and then the Thursday I was on life support.
I remember feeling that my eyeballs were actually almost rolling around inside my head. It was quite a feeling I'd never experienced before.
If I had waited another half an hour, I probably wouldn't be here at the moment, so that 30 minutes isn't much time when you think about it.
I have seen cases where somebody has been well at breakfast and dead by dinner.
I guess I'm a very sociable person. I do like going out and meeting friends in, pubs, nightclubs, that sort of thing. And you never think that it is going to happen to you. I mean, me and my friends are all very close. We do, share the odd drink and that sort of thing. And that's one thing that you shouldn't do that sort of I know now.
It's the close proximity, people speaking very close together. They're pressed almost jowl to jowl. The music's top blast. They're so close together. They're actually exchanging spittle or whilst they're speaking loudly to one another. And we think it's a real hazard. And also there's a problem with drinks. I mean, if people put their drink down, they pick up the wrong glass. And the next thing you can be using a glass that someone's been infected with.
I don't know how I got it, but leading up into it, I was going to clubs every second night kind of thing. Some of them, you'd notice the sweat driplets dropping off the roof because it'd be a really hot club and all that spreading around, and we'd buy a few rounds of drinks and end up sharing them anyway. So at sport, just grab a water bottle and too easy, but no, I wouldn't do it anymore. It was 3 days before my 21st birthday. And the first sign, the night before I'd been out with friends at work, and then they came back to my place, we had a few drinks, and I went to sleep, and I woke up in the morning and I had a lot of pain throughout my whole body, just soreness, stiffness, stiff throat and neck in particular, and the light was really affecting my eyes. I couldn't see clearly, and there was a bit of pain in my eyes because of the light, and walking was a real problem. I found it really difficult to walk down just to the end of the house. It took me about 5 minutes, and it's just my house, so.
While I was at uni, I just started feeling really tired and really weak, and so naturally I caught the bus home and thought that I'd just sort of take the day off and have a rest for the whole day. I felt really tired and really weak, even more, and really cold as well. Drank about 8 litres of water throughout the night, and yeah, I woke up in sweats and woke up feeling cold or hot. It was like my limbs were just sort of limp, like you'd been lying on your arm for a while, and like while you were sleeping you get up and it was just limp, and that's how all my limbs felt. And my feet felt swollen, so I couldn't get my foot into my shoe, and just it was such a weird feeling. I didn't have a clue what was going on.
I was trialling with the Canberra Raiders down Canberra at Queanbeyan, and I came back up to Sydney, see my mate Bronx. Yeah, I haven't seen him for a little while, and his mate's from school, so I thought I might see him for a week. It was Tuesday. I had dinner. I went to sleep about 7:30 because there was a party going on. Me and my mate went to bed, and woke up about 10 o'clock and watched a video, and then went back to sleep. After that, and then I was just feeling a bit queasy and sick, and then it just started from there, sort of thing, just vomiting. Went to the toilet and vomited. That happened about 4 times during the night till probably about 7 o'clock in the morning. Just kept going back, and after I'd vomit, I'd have a really bad headache, and basically a splitting headache, and then I'd go back and shake and shiver, and feverish, just swinging between hot and cold. And I thought I just had a virus, just, you know, your usual virus, just vomiting and everything, because I had tonsillitis the week before. I thought it was just, you know, something leading off of that. I just noticed a spot on my leg. I thought it was ingrown hair because I washed my legs. But yeah, I didn't think anything of it. It's just a red spot on my leg.
I was in year 10 of high school. It was 1997. It was the September holidays, and I woke up on that Tuesday morning and I felt a little bit off. Just like, you know, I'd had a food poisoning or just feeling a bit off. And by about 10:30, I had a bit of a headache. Headache was probably my first symptom. And then from the headache, I progressed to having a bit of nausea, and then of course the vomiting after that. The dizziness shortly followed, and I remember at one point actually going into the bathroom and being sick and looking in the mirror and feeling just out of control. I looked into the mirror and I thought, you know, I've never felt like this before. Something is definitely happening. It's not just like a flu, it's not just like a hangover, it's completely different.
I just had a few dots on me. They were little red dots, looked like mosquito bites, something like that. And I went to the doctor to see what it was about. I was quite concerned that I had a rash, and basically he told me I had a virus and it'll go away by itself.
I went into the GP that morning to get checked up, and so he sort of looked at me for a while and couldn't really see anything, sent me home saying it was probably just flu symptoms.
I went to uni because I had an assessment to do. I started getting worse at uni, so I just went straight home, took a nap. A few hours later, Mum and Dad tried to wake me up and they couldn't. When they finally did, I had a very high fever. I was delirious. They were talking to me and I had no idea what. I was very confused. I was just talking gibberish to them basically, and that's when they called the ambulance.
I spent the day in bed because it was the flu. I just had I think a Panadol or something like that. Mum and Dad went to work and I sort of was there by myself. About 9 hours later they came home and I was still in pain, and they said, well look, we're going to take you to hospital. I had meningococcal.
I took a couple of Panadol and I went to bed and thought if I could have a little sleep, maybe that will help. And fortunately I had a phone call from a friend which woke me up, and I took the call and I didn't really say very much. I just said, you know, I wasn't feeling well, can I call you back later? And it was at that point Mum came in and noticed that my legs had actually had a rash beginning to appear. And by then, of course, once the rash has appeared, it's very, very quick from there.
I rang my stepsister and told her to pick me up and take me to a doctor. So she came, she was there within half an hour, and took one look at me and told me that she was going to take me to a hospital instead. Obviously I'd come out with the purple rash then, so which I didn't see because I hadn't looked in the mirror, but I was so weak that I was sort of crawling around. I couldn't even really stand up, so she had to help me down this steep driveway and into her car and then off to the hospital.
I had a shower, and then it was about 30 minutes in the shower, and Bronx sort of was wondering what was happening and knocked down the door and found out I was collapsed on the floor, so I must have passed out in the shower. I don't remember anything. I just passed out in the shower. I woke up on the stretcher outside the house. I didn't know where I was. I thought I was back in Perth for a second. I didn't know what was happening.
We went into the shower and we pulled him out, and we all wax and shave our legs and that, so we all know what an ingrown hair is. And we looked and we said, oh, look at that ingrown hair, just mucking around with each other and going, yeah, that's a big ingrown hair. And we didn't think of nothing until the meningococcal came, and we came up here and we saw one of the spots, and that there was the first spot we saw, and the doctor said, yeah, that's one of the spots you get with meningococcal. And we said, damn, if we knew that, you know, we would have run him up here. We wouldn't have called the ambulance. We would have chucked him over our shoulders and got him up here as fast as we could.
In my dark room, I hadn't been able to check my body. I was in just too much pain, and no one was there to look at me. But yeah, in hospital, they sort of it had come up. It was also under my shirt and on my legs in particular, on my feet, which I hadn't seen. So I didn't really know until then. But yeah, I did have a rash. My rash wasn't too obvious, and I think that's a big problem, because a lot of people say, oh, you know, they wait for the rash, and by then it's already too late, really.
One of the things about the meningococcal rash is that it evolves over time. So it starts as this pink, flat sort of rash, and then as the bleeding starts to occur in the tissues, initially you see little red pinpoint hemorrhages, and then that can evolve into what are purpley red bruises, if you like. And indeed, if a patient is left until the stage of the real bruising, those big purpley blotches all over the body, the mortality may be as high as 50%. So 1 in 2 may die at that stage when the rash is really, really established.
Amanda was a fantastic all-round person. That's the best way of describing her. She was an A student. She loved all sports. She absolutely adored rowing because it was a team sport. She loved her horses. She competed in swimming, cross-country events, and you name it, she could do it.
On the Saturday she rode in the state championships, which was over 2 kilometres, and that evening she came home and said that she had a pain in, really painful right thigh, and she had a splitting headache. We put it down to the fact that she'd been out in the sun all day and perhaps rowing, she'd overexerted herself, and my husband suggested she have a good cold shower, early bed, and she'd feel a lot better in the morning. And it was interesting because she, although she had always had a hearty appetite, she declined the usual Saturday night pizza, and so she put herself to bed, and it wasn't until about 9 o'clock that she came out, and she was vomiting, and at that stage I said, she said she felt really, really wretched, and I said, well, do you want to see a doctor? She said yes, she did, and we knew then that she must be really ill. There was a photograph taken of her, of the team, on the day before, and you would never suspect that she was ill. She was fighting fit, very healthy kid, never had a sick day in her life. That was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 5 o'clock the next evening she was dead, despite medical care.
Hours. We're talking hours. We're not talking days here. We're talking hours with the meningococcal disease. Probably around about 3/4 of all the deaths with earlier treatment would have been preventable. So